Welcome to my channel, and today we are going to see one of the very interesting system of human body, the digestive system. You all must have seen this diagram that I have shown in this slide from your school days. So we have been taught and we know the basics of the digestive system, but in this video we are going to deal with all these systems in detail. So we will see one by one what the digestive system is, how it works, and what are the actual components of the digestive system which contribute to the process of digestion. So let's see now what exactly is this digestive system. Digestive system basically works on the principle of homeostasis, where we feel hungry, we take food, and that food gets digested. Now, whatever energy is required by any organism to perform its daily life functions, day-to-day functions, and to remain alive, it requires energy. Now, this energy comes from the food which the organisms intakes, which the food it eats simply. Now, this food, what the organisms eat, is complex in nature. Now, this complex food which the organism has taken, which the organism has eaten, now that complex food is converted into simple components, into simple chemical structures and molecules by various chemical mechanisms through various organs present in the digestive system. Right from the mouth up to the large intestine, the food passes through the alimentary tract, and in this process, the food is broken down into simple molecules, and these molecules can then be absorbed into the intestine, through the intestine into the blood, and circulated to various parts of the body through the blood in order to supply those nutrients, energy, chemicals providing energy for the normal functioning of the human body. This process of conversion of food into the chemical moieties providing energy to the body and maintaining the body, and finally excreting out the undigested food out of the body is called as the process of digestion, and the systems, the organs involved in this process are called as digestive organs, and the system is called as digestive system. So now if we look at the organs of the digestive system, we can divide these organs basically into two main divisions. The first division is the alimentary canal, and the secondary division is the accessory digestive organs. Now, first division, what I am saying, alimentary canal, is the actual digestive tract, which is a continuous coiled hollow tube through which the food passes. Okay, the food is always continuously inside the alimentary canal throughout the process of digestion, right from intake of food till the excretion of the undigested food. The food passes through the alimentary canal. So it is just like passage of the food through this entire tract of alimentary canal, which is just like a tube consisting of various hollow organs. Okay, and the second division of digestive system, accessory digestive organs, which consist mainly of the salivary glands, the gallbladder, the liver, the pancreas. These are all the accessory digestive organs. Accessory digestive organs are those organs which are not directly in contact with the food, but these organs provide vital chemical constituents which are required for chemical digestion of the food which we have eaten. Okay, of the food which is present in the alimentary canal. Okay, so these accessory digestive organs are continuously producing, they are continuously secreting various juices which are responsible for chemical digestion, breakdown of food into simpler molecules, larger molecules into simpler molecules, which can be absorbed into the blood through the intestine. So all those organs will be classified into accessory digestive organs. Okay. So let's begin with the organs of the alimentary canal, the hollow tube that we said through which the food passes. So the organs involved in the alimentary canal are basically starting from the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and finally the rectum. Okay, so all these are the parts are organs which are the part of the alimentary canal. Okay, starting from the mouth, we intake our food through mouth, so it is the starting of the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal starts with the mouth. Okay, so it is the cavity, it is the part of that tube, hollow tube, that runs throughout our body from right from our lips up to the anus. Okay, so mouth is the opening of the alimentary canal. Okay, then pharynx, which is present in the neck. Okay, along with the starting of esophagus, which continues down up to the stomach. Stomach is followed by the small intestine, then the large intestine, and finally the rectum. Okay, so whatever food we intake passes through all these organs. Okay, it is continuously in contact, passing from one organ to the other in this sequence from 1 to 7, and finally gets excreted out of the body. So all these are the parts of your alimentary canal. Okay, moving to the next slide. So the next slide, accessory digestive organs. Now these digestive organs basically consists of all those accessory digestive organs, or those components, those organs which help, which assist in the process of digestion. Okay, so the first accessory digestive organ is the salivary glands. The glands which are present behind the ears and the glands which are present below the tongue and the mandible. Okay, so these three salivary glands are the accessory organs of the digestive system which provide or which secrete saliva. Okay, now we all know what is the role of saliva. It helps in swallowing. It has many roles that we will be seeing in our upcoming slides. Along with salivary glands, the next important organ in the mouth, the first organ of the alimentary canal, mouth, consisting of second accessory digestive organ, that is the teeth. Okay, teeth. So teeth, we all know what is the role of teeth in chewing the food, breaking down the structural food into small structures. Okay, so that is the role of teeth. Okay, we will be seeing how teeth works, what is the exact structure of the teeth we have in the mouth, what are the different types of teeth in our upcoming slides. Next accessory organ is the pancreas. We all have heard the role of pancreas in the disease of diabetes. Okay, so it is also releasing various type of chemicals which are responsible in the process of digestion. Next, the major organ, the largest gland in the human body, liver. Okay, providing and functioning various biochemical cycles, various biochemical mechanisms, and responsible for digestion. Okay, and it is assisted by, it is along with a small gland that is called as gallbladder. Okay, gallbladder produces the bile. Okay, now what is the role of all these accessory organs? We will be seeing one by one. So finally, salivary glands, teeth, pancreas, liver, and gallbladder are the digestive organs which are accessory in nature. And now, once again, we are saying that food does not pass through all these organs. They just contribute their secretions which help, which aid the process of digestion, except the teeth. Okay, teeth is the only accessory digestive organ which is not going to secrete anything. Okay, it is just going to break down the complex food. It is just going to break the structural food into small pieces that can be further easily digested through the alimentary canal, along with the secretions made by all these accessory digestive organs. So whatever we have seen till now, just we are now observing in this diagram over here, the GI tract basically consists of various alimentary canal organs and accessory digestive system organs. Okay, so once again we will just list out the GI tract, alimentary canal, starting with mouth, followed by pharynx, then esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus, as you can see in this diagram over here above. And the accessory digestive organs consist of teeth, tongue. We missed just the tongue, role of tongue in our previous slide. So tongue is also one of the accessory organs which has a major role. Without tongue, we are not able to eat any kind of food. We are not going to taste the beautiful taste of life. Along with gallbladder, liver, and pancreas. So all these systems are just shown in this diagram over here. You can see it. You can pause my video. You can see various labels and position of all these digestive organs, alimentary canal and accessory digestive organs. You can pause this video and you can see the labels and positions of various organs, their locations in the human body. So now let us see what are the exact function of these digestive system, what we are talking about, and various organs what we have seen. So the first important function of any digestive system of any organism is ingestion of the food, intake of the food. Okay, and we all know we intake the food through the mouth, which is the first organ of the alimentary tract of the digestive system. Second important function of the digestive system is the mechanical process of digestion, that is the physical breakdown of food into smaller particles. Example, we chew the food using our teeth along with the tongue, which helps in movement of the food inside the mouth. So we churn the food, we chew the food, we swallow it, and then it gets churned, it gets crushed, it gets mixed inside the stomach, and segmentation of that food into smaller or molecules that can be absorbed, that takes place inside the intestine, small intestine specifically. Then the next important function of the digestive system, as the name itself suggests, it is digestive system. The major function of it is digestion. Okay, and what is digestion? It is breakdown of food particles into chemical components, that is chemical digestion using various enzymes and various secretions secreted by the accessory digestive organs. Like carbohydrates are broken down into simple sugars that can be absorbed. Proteins are broken down into amino acids so that those amino acids can be further utilized in the body for production of different kinds of chemical components, including the proteins for normal functioning and maintenance of human body. Then fats can be broken down into fatty acids and alcohols. Alcohols, I specifically mean glycerol, which is used in the body for different functions. The next important function is secretion. Now by secretion, we mean release of various fluids including water, acids, enzymes and buffers into the digestive system. Now all these secretions, what we are seeing here, water, acid, enzymes and buffers, all these secretions are required for the normal functioning of human digestive system or digestive system of any organism, where the waters, acids and enzymes are required for various functions, for various activities like process of mechanical digestion, as well as maintaining the environment which is required for carrying out various chemical reactions and chemical cycles and biochemical reactions inside the digestive organs. Now for all these things, we need some kind of enzymes and buffers and all those secretions which are secreted by, we all know, by the accessory digestive organs. Okay, so moving to the next slide. The remaining functions of the digestive system. Now after digestions, whatever food we have eaten, whatever food we have taken up is broken down into simple molecules. Now these molecules are now absorbed into the blood. Okay, now the process of absorption is the major function, next major function of the digestive system, where the moving nutrients and fluids in the blood and the lymph from digestive system. Okay, it is simply absorption of those simple molecules which are produced after the process of digestion, absorbed into the blood and the lymph, which then carries it from the digestive tract to the entire body. Okay, and it is just like supplying the simple nutrients to the body, okay, by the process of absorption. Okay, the next function of digestive system is elimination. Elimination means to remove something, to get rid of something. Now what does it get rid of? It get rid of the undigested food. Okay, now our human digestive system is specifically designed to digest the food that we are eating, but all the food that we eat are not completely digested. Only those nutrients which can be synthesized by the biochemical reactions taking place in the alimentary tract, only those foods will be digested, only those molecules will be broken down. Remaining food which remains intact, which remains as it is, which cannot be digested or absorbed in the alimentary canal into the blood, all those things are waste. All those parts remaining after extracting the nutrients from it, all those parts, all those components of the food which we have eaten are the waste product of the digestive reactions. Okay, now it is not healthy to store all those things in human body. Okay, so all those things are eliminated as a part of feces, okay, out of the body. Okay, and the next part is metabolism. Now what is metabolism? Metabolism, it means to perform the catabolic reactions to provide reactants for anabolic reactions and to make up ATP, okay, adenosine triphosphate. So simply it is the process, in short, it is the process to produce the molecules which are necessary for generation of energy like ATP. Now, what is the actual process of digestive system? The process which takes place in digestive system, the food which we have eaten is transferred throughout the alimentary tract by three types of movements, okay, and those three movements are propulsion, peristalsis and segmentation. Now what do we mean by propulsion? As the name itself indicates that something is getting propelled, okay, something is getting pushed, okay. So propulsion is nothing but movement of food from one region of the digestive system to the next region, okay. So that is simply propulsion. The food which we have eaten right from our mouth, the food is pushed inside the stomach using the esophagus, okay. So these types of movements which are there in the digestive system, throughout the digestive system, they are of three types: propulsion, peristalsis and segmentation, okay. So propulsion is simply pushing the food, okay. Now what is peristalsis, which we have heard from past many years? Peristalsis is alternating wave-like motion of all these muscles which are involved in the digestive system. A wave-like motion, wave-like contractions takes place, and the food inside those tracts of alimentary canal is pushed further into the next organ, okay. And what is segmentation? Segmentation is nothing but movement of segments of the food, as we can see in the lower diagram, back and forth, okay. Segmentation is the only process, is the only type of movement of the food where the food moves forward as well as backward, okay. So backward movement of food takes place when there is segmental type of motion, okay. So this motion specifically takes place in the intestine. More specifically, it takes place in the large intestine, where the undigested food is properly mixed by mixing it to and fro inside the intestine, so that it equally gets mixed, it thoroughly gets mixed with various digestive juices and various enzymes which are responsible for digestion of that food. So this diagram on this slide summarizes the entire thing that we have seen about the digestive system, the process of digestive system, where right from ingestion of the food up to the defecation, what all processes are involved in this process, and where the chemical digestion takes place, where the propulsion, where the peristalsis and segmentation takes place. It also shows the location of major blood vessels and lymph vessels parallel to the intestinal tracts, as well as where the chemical digestion takes place, what happens in the mouth, that we are chewing, in the stomach the churning is taking place, in the small intestine segmentation is taking place. So you can pause this video and you can just go through this diagram, which shows the labels and positions and the processes of digestion taking place at various steps in the digestive system, specifically the alimentary canal. So you can just pause it and see it. So now let's see the general structure of the digestive system, the histology of the organs involved in the digestive system, and specifically speaking, the histology of alimentary canal that we have seen in our previous slides. What we have said that alimentary canal is just a hollow tube through which the food passes. Now this tube is made up of 4 layers, okay, and there are modifications along the length of this tube, okay. As required, the tube, it gets modified according to the process of digestion, according to the need of digestion, okay, and this tube is entirely made up of 4 layers. So in the diagram we can see over here, the first layer is called the lumen, okay. The first layer is the lumen, okay, that is the mucous membrane, okay. Inside this, the central cavity over here is called as lumen, and the first layer is of mucosa, okay. Mucosa, it indicates that it is made up of mucous membrane, the membrane which secretes mucus, okay. So throughout the digestive system alimentary tract, the mucus is secreted, okay, by this innermost layer of mucosa, okay. The secondmost layer surrounding the mucosa, covering the mucosa, is called as submucosa or submucosal layer, okay. What it means we are seeing in the upcoming slides. It is then surrounded by a layer of circular muscles, okay. It is surrounded by a layer of circular muscles and then by the layer of longitudinal muscles. This becomes a third layer consisting of circular and longitudinal muscles, and the fourth layer of the alimentary canal is the serosa, that is the serous membrane, which continuously secretes the serous fluid, which acts as a protective lubricating sac around the alimentary canal. It secretes the serous fluid, okay. So the serous membrane secretes the, it is having the cells and glands which secrete the serous fluid, and this fluid acts as a shock absorber to protect the alimentary canal from the shocks, okay. So this is the general histological structure of alimentary canal. So now just we will see one by one what all these layers do, what do they mean, okay. So just we will see what are these 4 layers that we have seen. The heading is layers of the gut. Now gut is a general term in English for alimentary canal. By guts we mean alimentary canal over here in anatomy. So the first layer, the first innermost layer of the alimentary canal is the mucosa, okay. So it consists of the epithelial membrane consisting of various columnar cells including the goblet cells, which may be stratified or squamous, and their function is basically to produce the mucus, okay. So these goblet like cells, okay, goblet means the glass of wine, okay, the glass of wine is of the shape of a goblet, okay. We have heard the goblet of fire, okay. So that goblet, that glass like thing is called as goblet. So these cells are like goblets which are continuously producing the mucus. So when they contract, the mucus is secreted out of these goblet like cells, okay. So these cells are present in the mucous membrane, followed by the submucosa. Now this submucosa is made up of loose connective tissue containing of the submucosal plexus and blood vessels, okay. So this layer is responsible for channeling the nerve system and the blood vessels up to the mucosa, okay. Because from the mucosa, once the mucosa is crossed, the food will be absorbed into the blood vessels, okay, and the nerve ending will be responsible for creating these contractions, what we saw, okay, peristalsis and segmentation. All these movements of the muscles are controlled by these nerve plexus, okay. Surrounded by this submucosal layer is the muscularis externa or muscular layer made up of smooth muscles, which consists of 2 types of layers. The outer layer is the longitudinal muscle layer and the inner layer is the circular muscle layer, okay. Now the longitudinal muscle layer is responsible for contraction. So when the longitudinal muscle contract, it propels the food upside, okay, whereas the inner layer, when it contracts, it churns the food, it crushes the food. So the food is crushed as well as it is pushed up, okay. So this type of movement, this type of contractions are taking place throughout the alimentary canal wherever required, and the outermost layer is of serosa. As I said, it produces the serous fluid. It is the visceral layer of mesentery or adventitia depending on its location. Okay, so at different locations the serosa will be having different functions of protection from shocks by producing the serosal fluid. So as we have seen the four layers of the alimentary tract, the tube that runs from mouth to the rectum of the alimentary canal, and we have also seen that there are modifications as required in this tube. But however, in spite of those modifications, the four layers run throughout the alimentary canal. Okay, starting from the mucosa, the submucosa, muscularis, and serosa. All these four layers are always present throughout the alimentary tract. However, there will be certain kind of modifications as and when required in these four layers. So here we can see that in the intestine there are these finger-like projections into the lumen. Okay, so these finger-like projections are called as villi and microvilli on their tips. So these are the modifications in the alimentary canal. Okay, followed by the submucosa consisting of the nerve plexus, then the circular muscle and longitudinal muscle surrounded by the serosa. Now this serosa is connected with the mesentery. Okay, now mesentery is the membrane through which the veins and arteries and lymph node they enter into the alimentary tract system. Okay, so mesentery consists of the connective tissue, the membranous tissue through which these veins run inside and out of the alimentary tract for absorption of food. So now we are starting with the actual anatomy and actual structures of the alimentary canal. The first structure of the digestive system, mouth. The entry of the food takes place through mouth. We use our mouth to talk and we use our mouth to eat. Okay. So the mouth, or also called as the oral cavity or the buccal cavity, is lined inside with the oral mucosa. Okay. The mouth has entrance which is covered by the fold of skin that are the lips. Okay, so the lips are actually the doors to the mouth. Okay, lips are not just the organ present on the face, but it serves as the opening and closing of the oral cavity. Okay, so that is the role of the lips. If lips are always open, means the oral cavity is always open. Okay, so lips are the doors to the oral cavity and they protect the anterior openings, okay, in the mouth. Okay, surrounded by the cheeks which cover this buccal cavity. Okay, so the buccal cavity is covered with cheeks laterally. Okay, then the hard palate, the upper surface, the roof of the mouth. Okay, here you can see it, this hard palate which consists of bone inside it. So it is called as the hard palate because it is having bone inside. It is the roof of the oral cavity, so it is called as hard palate. Okay, then comes the soft palate. Now this soft palate is not having any kind of bones in it, but it is just made up of muscular tissue. Okay, and it is hanging or connected to the hard palate. Then we are having tongue, which is a skeletal muscle. Okay, tongue is not any other kind of muscle, but it is skeletal muscle just because it is in the control of the person. Okay, we can move the tongue in the way we want. Okay, so tongue is a skeletal muscle. It is attached to this lower mandible. Okay, it is attached to the bone over here from the inside mandible, as well as it is secondly attached to the hyoid bone behind over here. Okay, so it is connected between the mandible, the bone over here, chin, and the bone over here, that is the hyoid bone. Okay, so whatever tongue is present, what we see in the mouth is not just the part of the tongue, but below that also the tissue, the muscles tissue of the tongue is extended. It is connected between these two bones. Okay, and tongue is considered to be one of the strongest muscle in human body. Okay, now apart from this, salivary glands are also present. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands. So overall in this face, in this oral cavity, we are having 6 types of or 6 number of salivary glands. They are considered in pairs, so we say that there are 3 pairs of salivary glands, as well as we are having teeth. Okay, we all know in the oral cavity, and the upper layer and lower layer of or set of teeth. Okay, then the uvula. Now uvula is just the fleshy projection of the soft palate. If you open your mouth and you see in the mirror, you will see something hanging, okay, at the center of the throat. Okay, so that is the fleshy projection of uvula, and it is very sensitive. Okay, it is used for, it serves as a process of, in the process of protection. Okay, as a sensory organ. Okay, so here you can see that it is hanging over here. What we see in the mirror, centrally hanging in the throat, that is the uvula. So now what all processes takes place in the mouth, in the buccal cavity, in the oral cavity? What all are the processes that take place, and which are the processes directly related to the digestion? Okay, so the first important process is mastication of food. Okay, mastication means chewing. Okay, whatever we chew with the teeth, whatever we crush our food, we churn the food, that process is called as mastication of food. So see, it is simply the structural breakdown of food. Whether it is soft food, whether it is hard food, it is not just directly swallowed. Okay, otherwise it will not be digested properly, and it will create various complications in the digestive system. So to avoid all these things, we are having a set of upper teeth and lower teeth which combinedly chew the food, which masticate the food. Okay, the second important function of the oral cavity is mixing of the masticated food with saliva. Okay, whatever food we have masticated, whatever food we have crushed, it get mixed with the saliva. So it is not just getting directly mixed with the saliva, but various part of the mouth, various part of the buccal cavity, that is the cheeks, the tongue, all are responsible for mixing of this food with saliva. Now saliva is not just water, it consists of various enzymes and cells which are responsible for digestion of the food right from the mouth. Okay, as well as it is having some cells of our protective system, that is the immune system. Okay, so the digestion of the food takes place or begins from the mouth. Okay, with the help of saliva, which is the first secretion of the accessory organs, that is salivary glands. Okay, so saliva is the first secretion taking place in the digestive tract. Okay, the next is initiation of swallowing by tongue. Okay, now we have crushed the food, we have mixed it with the saliva. Now the next step is swallow the food. Okay, so if we observe, if we sense the process of swallowing, how we swallow something, we will see that the tongue is responsible to push that food into the throat or into the esophagus. Okay, so tongue is responsible to push that food behind the oral cavity. Okay, so tongue initiates the process of swallowing. Okay, and the next function, next important or the most important function of the oral cavity along with chewing is sense of taste. Okay, without the sense of taste, the amount of saliva will not be secreted as per the requirements. Okay, if the food is not tasty, the saliva will be secreted to less extent, and this means that the food will not be digested properly in the mouth. Okay, it will not be mixed properly with the sufficient quantity of saliva which is required to swallow the food. Okay, if the food is tasty, it is the taste is sensed by the taste bud present on the tongue, and these taste buds send the signals to the brain, which then stimulate the salivary glands through various nerves, and these salivary glands will secrete extra amount of saliva. Okay, and this also happens when we sense the food through other eyes. Okay, eyes will send the signal to brain, and brain will again send the signals to the salivary glands, which will start secreting the saliva. Okay, so all these processes takes place inside the oral cavity or mouth in general. So one of the important organ in the oral cavity is the tongue, an accessory digestive organ. As we have already seen, the tongue is one of the accessory organ in the digestive system, and it is made up of skeletal muscle because we can move our tongue the way we want. Okay, inside the oral cavity we can move the tongue anywhere, it's in our control. So it is not made up of smooth muscles which are involuntary, but made up of skeletal muscle which are voluntary, we can move it. Okay, and it is covered with a keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, so the tongue is completely covered with a kind of squamous epithelium. Okay, and it manipulates and mixes the food while chewing. Okay, the bolus what we eat, the bolus what we eat is manipulated, means it is mixed, broken down with the help of tongue. If we observe properly while chewing, we can see or we can experience all these function of the tongue, what is happening inside the mouth when we chew or when we eat something, what is the role of the tongue in our oral cavity, that we can experience ourselves. Okay, so the tongue performs the important functions of manipulating the food to prepare it to swallow. Okay, so it is continuously shuffling the food in the mouth from one place to other, from one side of teeth to the other side, in order to completely crush it, completely mix it with the saliva and prepare it to be swallowed. Okay, the next function is the sense of the touch, temperature and taste. Okay, so whatever we eat, we feel the presence of food because it is touched with the tongue. Okay, tongue can feel the presence of food in the mouth. Okay, as well as it has thermal sensors, so we understand what is the temperature of the food, whether we can eat it or not. Okay, without it, the hot food will damage various organs, various layers of cells in the alimentary canal. So tongue senses the temperature of the food which we eat, as well as it is responsible for taste of the food, which is the major function of the tongue. Okay, and we have also seen the next function of the tongue, that it initiates swallowing, the process of swallowing, and it also is responsible for speech. Okay, now it is not a part or not a function of digestive system, but still it is responsible for speech. Whatever we speak, it is because of the tongue. Okay, now image we'll see over here that this is the tip of a human tongue. Okay, it is actually the tip of my own tongue. It is my tongue that I have photographed using a macro lens. Okay, now over here you can see that it is having numerous surfaces. Okay, it is having these projections, finger-like projections on its surface. These are called as papilla. Okay, these projections what we are seeing over here are called as papilla, and inside those papilla you can see that there is a network of capillaries running inside the papilla. Over here you can see that there is a network of capillaries, blood vessels, okay, running into the papilla. Okay, on these papilla there are taste buds. Okay, the location of the taste buds is in between these papillas. Okay, so these papillas, these projections on the tongue, increases the surface area of the tongue. Okay, so that more and more taste buds and other sensor are accommodated on the surface of the tongue. Okay, so that is the role of tongue. So the next major organ in the oral cavity or the buccal cavity is the teeth. We all know what are the teeth. Okay, now collectively whatever teeth are present in the oral cavity are anatomically called as dentation. Okay, teeth is called as the presence, or whatever teeth are present in the oral cavity, those set of teeth is called as dentition in the oral cavity. Okay, and the major role of the teeth is chewing the food, that is we all have seen that it is mastication of food. Okay, and it is the actual first step of digestion. Okay, it is the first step of digestion, or we can say it is the first step of mechanical digestion, where mechanically the food is broken down. Okay, the second part is chemical digestion that we will see later, but the first part of digestion, that is the mechanical digestion, takes place in the oral cavity, and the teeth are responsible for it. Okay, so if we see the anatomy of the teeth or structure of the teeth, the teeth basically consists of exposed crown, the crown over here, the portion of the teeth which is visible inside the oral cavity, the white portion what we see in the oral cavity is called as crown. Okay, then the next part is the neck, which is held by the gums. Okay, in the oral cavity the gums are responsible to hold the teeth in its position. Okay, so that portion is called as neck. Okay, and neck is constricted. Okay, here you can see that the portion of this teeth is smaller, it constricts than the crown. Okay, so the neck is always constricted, and then the last part is the root. Okay, so the three portions of teeth are crown, the neck, and the root. Okay, now over here you can see that the crown is covered with a white colored bony structure that is called as the enamel. Okay, we all must have heard this word enamel. Okay, whenever the teeth is decayed because of microbial activities, whenever the teeth gets decayed, we see those dark spots, brown and black spots on the teeth. It is because of decaying of this surface of the teeth, which is the hard bony structure. Okay, and that enamel is eroded by bacterial activities, and then the teeth has to be removed and all the processes have to be done. Okay, below this hard layer of enamel there is the layer of dentine. Now dentine is nothing but a channel or network of small capillaries which run up to the center of the teeth. Okay, so it is having small channels, it is having small capillaries. Okay, now whenever our teeth is decayed, whenever the dentine is destroyed or damaged, the food is sensed by these dentines, and the sense is traveled up to the nerves which are present inside this dentition tubules, inside this pulp cavity. Okay, the nerves are present in this pulp cavity. Okay, so when the enamel is decayed, through these dentines the sense is passed up to the nerves, okay, which are present in the pulp cavity, pulp inside the teeth. Okay, which consists of blood vessels and nerves. Okay, so the central region of any teeth consists of a network of blood vessels as well as nerve endings, okay, to every teeth. Okay, and the teeth is held together in the oral cavity by gums, that is called as gingiva. Okay, whatever we see above the teeth, okay, the red portion above the teeth and below the teeth is called as gingiva or gums. Okay, whenever there is infection of gums, it is called as gingivitis. Okay, so gingivitis is the infection of gums, the swelling of gums is called as gingivitis. We generally get it once there is some loss or lack of vitamins, vitamin B specifically. Okay, then the inner layer of the teeth is called as cementum. Okay, cementum is the inner layer or the outer layer inside the bones is called as cementum. Okay, here we are having a root canal. Through the root canal the nerves and blood vessels enter into the pulp cavity. Okay, so that is just a canal, okay, which is present in the root of the teeth. Okay, we have seen that this is the root of the teeth, this much portion. Okay, so that is just a canal through which blood vessels and nerves enter into the teeth. Okay, and every teeth is connected to this bone, okay, with the help of these small ligaments. Okay, now these ligaments are called as periodontal ligaments. Okay, periodontal ligaments, which are responsible to connect the teeth with the bones. Okay, now whenever any teeth gets loosened, okay, it is because of these periodontal ligaments which are not holding the teeth firmly. Okay, and this is the last entrance of this teeth, entrance of the root canal, that is called as the apical canal. Okay, or apical entrance. Okay, now there are different types of teeth. There are basically two sets of teeth in the mouth. the primary or deciduous teeth that are present, okay, those are also called as the baby teeth, which we get after the birth, okay. So in our life we have two sets of teeth, the baby teeth and the permanent teeth, okay. So baby teeth, they start at the age of 6 months. When the baby is of 6 months, it starts getting teeth, okay. And there are 20 teeth by the age of 2, okay. So when we become of the age 2, we get 20 teeth in the oral cavity, which then fall out by the age of 6, okay. So we are going to lose this first set of baby teeth by the age of 6, okay. After that, whatever teeth we get, those are the permanent teeth, and those are 32 in number, okay. So over here you can see that the incisors or the front teeth what we have, they come initially at the age of 6 months. Then lateral teeth come at the age of 8 to 10 months. We get canines, the sharp teeth, at the age of 16 to 20 months, okay. Then the molars and secondary molars up to the age of 2 years, okay. So that is the first set of primary teeth, okay. Then the permanent teeth, that is the 32 set of teeth what we have throughout our remaining life, okay. So at the age of 7, we get the incisors, the front teeth we get at the age of 7, okay. Then the lateral teeth we get in the next year, that is 8th year, we get this lateral teeth, okay, on the both sides 1 year later. Then we get the canines when we reach the age of 11 years. Up to 11 years is the maximum age to get the canines. Then we get the premolars, which are bicuspid in nature, okay. First premolars when we are 11 years. Then the next set of secondary premolars when we reach the age of 12 to 13 years, okay. Then we get the molars when we are at the age of 6 years. Then we get the secondary molars at the age of 12 to 13. And the third molar, the wisdom teeth, when we reach to the age of 17 to 25 years, okay. So that is the overall age-wise distribution of the teeth which we get throughout our lifetime, okay. So from age of 6 months up to the age of 17 to 25 years, the teeth are continuously growing inside the human oral cavity, okay. So whatever teeth we just saw in the previous slide, they all are classified. The names that the teeth are having, incisor, molar, premolar, canines, all these names are given based on the shape of the teeth, okay. What is the shape of the teeth and what is the location of that particular teeth inside the mouth, okay. So the frontal teeth, the two teeth what we have up and below, those two teeth are called as incisors, okay. Incisors, there are two incisors in the mouth, up and below. So they are chisel shaped, they are flat in shape, okay, and they are used for chopping of the pieces. We can cut the food we eat with the help of the frontal teeth, okay. So it is just used to chop the food, okay. The second type is canines, okay. Those are the cone shaped teeth, okay, the sharp teeth that we have, okay. Now humans are having small canines. If we see the carnivorous animals like lions and tigers, we see that they are having sharp and long type of canines in their mouth, okay. Now those are because these canines are used to pierce inside, okay, pierce inside, or they are used to tear something, okay. So to tear the flesh, to tear the food and pierce inside that food, we require canines. So that is the role of canines. Then we are having premolars, okay. Before the molars we are having premolars beside the canines, okay, and they are bicuspid in nature. So we are having two premolars, okay, bicuspid because they are having two roots, okay, and the molars, that are 3 molars on each side, okay. So they are broad they are having 4 to 5 projections on the surface, and they are used to crush the food. Okay, churn the food, they are used to crush. Okay, the upper molars and the lower molars, they are just crushing the foods. Okay, so according to the shape, the function of these teeth are defined, and according to their locations, they are having different names, and according to the shapes and locations in the mouth. Okay, so up to this we will be seeing the functions and anatomical structures present in the oral cavity. The remaining part of this digestive system we will be seeing in the next video of this digestive system, the digestive system part 2. Okay, so up to that, this will be the end of this video. So if you like this video, I would suggest you to like this video, and you can put your questions in the comments. And if you like this video and whatever we have seen till now, you may subscribe the channel also. Okay, thank you. See you in the next lecture.